Hello? Yes, Professor. Yes. Okay. Okay. Take your own time, Professor. No problem. I'll inform Ritu. Okay. Ritu and Kalpana. Yeah. I'll inform Kalpana also. Okay. Okay, Professor.
Paneer sir, Paneer sir, Paneer sir, Paneer
Hello,
Selvam
Kalpana
sir.
madam?
Yes,
Yes,
can
madam.
we start, sir?
No, actually, VC just called me. I think
Ah,
he's got some microphone problem.
okay,
He's trying to set it out.
okay, fine.
Okay.
Yes,
Once it
sir.
is set right, then okay.
Maybe we can just, something we can discuss. Maybe some people are there already.
Yes. Yeah. If you
Yes,
can also
sir.
talk to him. If you can call our vice chancellor, and then you can put a word, and then we can start. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. Thank you. Hello. Hello. Ritu. Ritu.
Yes, sir.
Hello. Do you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Do you
Yeah.
hear me?
Yeah. Some the Professor Gurmeet Singh Vice Chancellor called me now. He said that he's got some problem with his mic. He's
Right.
trying to correct it, and you just tell Kalpana madam that there's some problem, some delay, and then we can start anytime. Okay.
Okay. We will wait for the vice chancellor, sir. Right?
Yes, definitely. Yeah. We have to wait. We have to
Okay.
wait.
I'll just
By
let
the
her
time
know.
you
He
you t- yes. Okay.
okay.
A very good evening to all of you. Please, we are waiting for the Vice Chancellor who has some small technical problem. As soon as he joins us, we will start the meeting. Kindly wait till that time. And I'm sorry if we have kept you waiting for some time. There's been some small technical glitch. Kindly hold on. We'll be with you in another 5 to 10 minutes.
Hello? Hello? Just hold on.
Yes, Professor. Is it solved, Professor?
1 minute. Yeah, it's sorted out. Just
Okay.
half a minute more.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Okay.
There was
We are
no
waiting for you only,
connection
Professor.
here. Normally, the system I use that there was some problem, so we have sorted out. I switched on to the
See,
other
there is
system.
some problem, I think. We are not.
No, I switched on to the other desktop, but their mic was not working. And then I had to return back and
Professor
sort it out
Kalpana?
the connectivity.
Yes,
Is
sir,
it
I can
audible
hear
now?
you.
Okay.
Can
Okay,
we
Professor.
audible now?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay. Or we can begin, please. I'm so sorry
We
for
can
this
begin.
wastage of time.
No, sir, no issues. Can we start, Lenu?
Yes, ma'am.
Please start.
Good evening, one and all. It gives me immense pleasure to be part of this international e-lecture series on literature and philosophy, revisiting existentialism in the contemporary times, conducted by Department of English and Department of French of Pondicherry University. Without much delay, let me move on to the formal session. Let me invite Dr. S. Paneerselvam, Professor and Head of the Department of French, Pondicherry University, for the welcome address. Over to you, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Very good evening to one and all. Esteemed Vice Chancellor of Pondicherry University, Professor Gurmeet Singh, respected Dean of the School of Humanities, Professor P.K. Subramaniam, respected Head of the Department of English and one of the co-organizers, Professor Kalpana, my dear colleague and one of the other organizers, Dr. Ritu Dyagi, learned resource persons who have kindly agreed to deliver special lectures, Dr. Ben Roth of Harvard College, USA, Dr. Jonathan Weber, Professor and Head of the Department of Philosophy, Cardiff University, UK, Dr. Mangesh Kulkarni, Professor and Head of the Department of Politics and Public Administration, Savitribai Pune University, Pune, Dr. Matthew Sharp, Associate Professor of Philosophy, Deakin University, Australia, Dr. Romy Borges, Retired Professor, Center for French and Francophone Studies, JNU, Dr. Rosie Singh, Associate Professor, Center of German Studies, JNU. Colleagues and other departments of Pondicherry University, especially Department of English and French, and dear participants, it gives me immense pleasure to welcome you to this international e-lecture series. The topic of the lecture series is Literature and Philosophy, Revisiting Existentialism in the Contemporary Times. The topic is relevant to the present situation in which we are now. Existentialism is a movement in philosophy and literature that emphasizes individual existence, freedom, and choice. It is based on the view that we, humans, define our own meaning in life and we try to make rational decisions despite existing in an irrational universe. This philosophical movement was propagated mainly by the French writer, philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre, and it has its influence in all the literatures of the world. That is the reason why the departments of English and French are jointly organizing this lecture series. Professor Kalpana and Dr. Ritu Dyagi have conceived and proposed this idea. When we all agreed to this proposal, they contacted the resource persons and we are today in the inauguration session. The present pandemic situation has made us organize this lecture series by online mode. Our Vice Chancellor encourages us to be active and vibrant even during this corona period, and thanks to him, not a single day passes in the university without an online program. All the departments are organizing almost every day either a webinar or online workshop. Whenever we approach him with a proposal of academic nature, he approves it immediately. Even this time, we have his full support and blessings, and he has readily agreed to deliver the inaugural address. Thank you, sir, and we welcome you with gratitude. The Dean, Professor P.K. Subramaniam, is always a pillar of support to all of all of us and to all our activities. Thank you, sir, and we welcome you. I welcome wholeheartedly all the resource persons who have agreed to speak on this theme. I welcome one and all to these inaugural sessions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now let me invite Dr. Ritu Tyagi, Assistant Professor, Department of French, Pontifical University, to deliver the theme address. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Linu. Respected Vice Chancellor, Professor Gurmeet Singh, respected Dean, School of Humanities, Professor Professor P.K. Subramaniam, our Head, French Department, Professor S. Paneerselvam, Head, English Department and co-organizer, Professor H. Kalpana, esteemed resource persons who are present with us today, my teacher from old days, retired Professor Romy Borges from JNU, my colleague at Delhi University, Professor Rosie Singh, who's now working at JNU, our other two esteemed colleagues, Professor Mangesh Kulkarni from Savitribai Phule, Pune University, and we also have Dr. Jonathan Weber from Cardiff University with us in this session today. Colleagues from both French and English departments, the other colleagues who have joined us as participants, scholars and students, a very good afternoon to all of you. And I welcome you all to this webinar on literature and philosophy, rethinking existentialism in contemporary times. I'm very privileged to be sharing this dais with some very eminent people. I will begin especially with our esteemed Vice Chancellor, whose dynamism has changed the face of our university. He joined us almost 10 years ago as a beacon of hope when we were drowning in dreaded darkness and had begun to almost lose hope. He rejuvenated us then with his spirit of positivity and instilled a sense of joy at work within us. We cannot thank him enough. Thanks a lot, sir. Professor Subramaniam, who is a very accessible dean, always there to help and encourage us. We respect and admire his commitment to the school. The head of the French department, Professor S. Paneerselvam, who is the pillar of our department, a true gentleman at heart. He has made the department soar to incredible heights. He has encouraged all the faculty members alike, and within his leadership, it has been a very fruitful year for our department. Two of our colleagues from the department left for France. They were there for 2 weeks attending a teacher training program. The department got an IC SSR project, an SM Duo fellowship that allows exchange with Sorbonne University. We successfully organized an international seminar, again in collaboration with the English department, Diaspora and Gender in February 2019, a little before the lockdown began. And we had also received a very prestigious Fulbright institutional fellowship, again with the Department of English, but we were unable to avail it because of the ill health of the expert. I thank Professor Paneerselvam for his dedication to the department. And lastly, I come to my co-organizer, Professor and Head, Dr. H. Kalpana, who is a mentor and a friend at the same time. She's a powerhouse of energy, as many of you within the university and outside would have recognized now, and a person we all look up to as an intellectual, an administrator, and an academician. And it is difficult to find a more meritorious, meticulous, and efficient academician. So the two of us thought of the topic of revisiting existentialism as a theme for this webinar for mainly two reasons. One is that students, especially at the BA and MA levels, are usually scared because of the stereotypical understanding, or rather misunderstanding, that it is a topic of philosophy, a subject of philosophy, and therefore too dense for literature students. But the intellectuals we have shortlisted for this webinar, such as Jean-Paul Sartre, Albert Camus, and Franz Kafka, who had influenced these two writers, are philosophers as well as creative writers, and who have made it easy to bridge the gap between philosophy and literature, and to blur the boundaries in a way that present philosophical issues pertaining to human conditions, life, absurdity, responsibility, freedom through literary works. And one can recall some of the canonical texts that we use in the class when we teach literature, like Stranger, L'étranger by Albert Camus, or Huis clos, Closed Doors, or even Metamorphosis by Kafka. We handle many of these canonical texts in class, and we are privileged that here in this webinar, we will get introduced to many of the lesser known and contemporary texts. And the second reason is, as Professor Paneerselvam rightly mentioned, is our current circumstance of COVID-19, when uncertainty, fear, and anxiety rule our worlds. And we also see an uncanny similarity between what was happening in Europe of the 20th century during the time of the two world wars, and how these circumstances led to rethinking of philosophical questions related to the purpose of life, idea of existence, etc. And consequently, the theory of existentialism, which sought to view existence as fluid and focused mainly on the absurd nature of life, gained popularity. So keeping that in mind, we thought that it might be useful to reinvestigate the concept of existentialism to understand if it can offer meaningful insights in comprehending our situation and dealing with the situation today. As a cultural movement, existentialism belongs to the past. As a philosophical inquiry that introduced a new norm, authenticity for understanding what it means to be human, a norm tied to a distinctive past, a post-Cartesian self, as practical embodied being in the world, existentialism has continued to play an important role in contemporary thought, both in continental as well as analytic traditions. The Society for Phenomenology, Existential Philosophy, societies dedicated to Heidegger, Merleau-Ponty, Sartre, Beauvoir, other existential philosophers, do provide a forum for a sort of ongoing work. And that is why many critics have this concept of the tradition of existentialism, which is pertinent to us today, often bringing existentialism into, we can say, confrontation / negotiation with the recent movements such as structuralism, deconstruction, hermeneutics, feminism, etc. And as a theory, it addresses questions of everyday life, fear, anxiety, trauma, chaos, meaninglessness, etc. And it aims to analyze issues, as Sir mentioned, related to freedom, our responsibility, moral commitment, ethics, that pave way for a better life within the everyday chaos of our sort of nothingness. So our aim here is to provide understanding of the main tenets of existentialism, particularly to understand the contribution of Sartre, Camus, and Kafka from their literary perspectives. And the focus of the webinar will be mainly on ideas of individual choice, freedom, responsibility, anxiety, absurdity, with the intention to explore new meanings of the term in contemporary period, as well as understand the historical evolution of this philosophical / literary notion. And we are proud to introduce our speakers who are renowned experts on these areas. 4 of us whom I mentioned, there are 2 more who couldn't join us, Dr. Ben Roth from Harvard, Matthew Sharp from Deakin University, Australia. Now, I would like to say a few words in French. Je vais maintenant dire quelques mots au sujet de ce webinaire pour mes amis francophones. D'abord, bienvenue à cette séance inaugurale de notre webinaire qui s'intitule « La philosophie et la littérature, repenser l'existentialisme dans le contexte contemporain », surtout dans la situation actuelle de COVID-19, lorsque la peur, l'angoisse dominent nos vies quotidiennes et que nous sommes obligés de faire face à un sentiment persistant d'incertitude. Donc, on discerne donc des similitudes intéressantes avec la crise que l'Europe du XXe siècle a connue à l'époque des guerres mondiales. Les circonstances matérielles ont cependant conduit à repenser les questions philosophiques liées à la vie, comme je vous ai dit, à la vie, à l'idée d'existence humaine, ou bien, entre guillemets, la condition humaine d'après le titre d'un roman que vous connaissez bien, d'André Malraux. Donc, la théorie d'existentialisme, par conséquent, qui cherchait à considérer l'existence comme fluide et axée sur la nature absurde de la vie gagnant en popularité, on s'est dit donc qu'il pourrait peut-être utile de réexaminer le concept d'existentialisme pour voir s'il peut nous offrir des aperçus significatifs afin de comprendre notre situation actuelle. Nous avons aussi remarqué, comme je vous ai dit en anglais, que les étudiants, surtout ceux au niveau de licence ou de la maîtrise, ont généralement peur de l'existentialisme à cause de la perception stéréotypée qu'il s'agit de la philosophie et donc difficile pour les étudiants en littérature. Donc, on a choisi les intellectuels comme Jean-Paul Sartre, Albert Camus, Franz Kafka, qui a eu une influence majeure sur ces deux écrivains, étaient des philosophes et aussi des écrivains créatifs qui ont permis de combler en fait le fossé entre la philosophie et la littérature et brouiller en quelque sorte les frontières d'une manière qui présentait des problématiques philosophiques relatives à la condition humaine, à la vie, son absurdité, la responsabilité, la liberté, etc., à travers les œuvres littéraires. Donc, je vous ai déjà dit qu'on traite souvent les textes comme L'étranger de Camus, Huis clos de Sartre, Métamorphose de Kafka, et nous aurons aussi l'occasion de voir, d'examiner les textes qui ne sont pas très connus, des textes contemporains, pendant ce webinaire. Et l'existentialisme qui a pris naissance dans le contexte des guerres et d'autres événements affreux était avant tout considéré comme la philosophie, un ensemble de théories philosophiques. Cependant, c'est aussi, on a vu, une théorie qui aborde des questions de tous les jours, c'est-à-dire la vie quotidienne, la souffrance, la peur, le traumatisme, le chaos, l'absence de sens. Et l'idée clé de l'existentialisme, c'est en fait la question de choix, libre arbitre, et la responsabilité de l'individu qui est de première importance et ouvre la voie pour déterminer le processus de sa vie. Et c'est un mouvement qui a influencé divers domaines, la littérature, religion, l'éducation, psychologie. Notre objectif ici dans ce webinaire, c'est de donner aux étudiants et aux chercheurs la possibilité de comprendre les principes de base de l'existentialisme, ainsi que de comprendre l'importance de ces écrivains, Jean-Paul Sartre, Camus, Kafka, d'un point de vue littéraire. Donc, nous souhaitons nous concentrer sur l'idée de l'individu, la question de choix, rôle de la conscience, l'angoisse du moment, l'absurdité, etc. Et nous espérons qu'avec une telle compréhension, nous pourrons mieux faire face à la pandémie, si c'est possible, et appliquer les principes de l'existentialisme à la lecture littéraire critique. Je vous remercie de votre attention. Et la dernière session de ce webinaire par professeur Romy Borges sera en français. Thank you. Thanks a lot for your patience and for your attention.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I invite Dr. P.K. Subramaniam, Dean, School of Humanities, to felicitate the gathering. Over to you, sir.
Respected Vice Chancellor and respected Madam Kalpana Madam, Professor and Head Department of English, and more respected our Professor Panir Selvam, Head Department of French, and other faculty members, those who are co-organizer, and other faculty members. First of all, I thank you all to giving me an opportunity to speak a few words regarding this seminar. It is really, these days, you are organizing a wonderful manner. That is, since it is COVID-19, so you have to take any steps to organize such a workshop, and it's regarding the literature and regarding the philosophy, how it is says in these situations. So I congratulate both the organizer and the co-organizer of these seminars. On behalf of the School of Humanities, I wish you all the best. God bless you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Now I invite Dr. Rossi Singh, Associate Professor, Center of German Studies, Jawaharlal Nehru University, for the introductory remarks. Over to you, ma'am.
Hello.
Hello, Dr. Rosemary,
Hello?
are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes,
Hello?
madam, we can hear you. We can hear you, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. Can I see me myself? Hello. So, first of all, I would like to congratulate the Department of English and the Department of French for organizing this webinar or lecture series, as you are calling it, on a very interesting and unusual theme. And you are putting three very prominent, significant writers and thinkers of 20th century on the same platform. This is a very interesting lecture series for me. I called this theme unusual, especially because I have never come across a webinar or seminar on existentialism. I've attended and participated in so many conferences, and there have been conferences on enlightenment, on romanticism, on surrealism, but I've yet to come across a seminar on existentialism. I'm not sure why this movement has been kind of neglected, at least in the Indian scenario. But I'm glad that it's finally again in focus. And in fact, another thing I want to point out is that this theme is also very interdisciplinary in nature. I went through the list of resource persons and I noticed that scholars are from various disciplines, from English, French, German, philosophy, and also the participants are from various streams. So that is another thing which I appreciate, and I think we should have more such initiatives where departments come together and talk about things, because ultimately we have a lot in common. Then I'm also happy that to participate in this seminar, because this is my first interaction with Pondicherry University, and I hope there will be more interactions in future, and especially face to face, not only in the virtual space. Although in these times, virtual space is the only space available to us. Well, I did my MPhil and PhD on Franz Kafka, and that was in the beginning of 90s. After that, I did many other things, and I was reading many other writers, European writers, also Indian writers. I read a lot of Salman Rushdie, Saadat Hasan Manto, and Sufi poets. I read a lot of Punjabi Sufi poets, because Punjabi happens to be my mother tongue. So, but I noticed that I always returned back to Kafka. So that was, then I realized this is going to stay. So this, me and my favorite author, our interaction is something long lasting, and it is here to stay. So, and I would say me and my favorite writer, our relationship is existential. Now, this is a very loose statement, but I'll go into the details of it when I present my lecture on Tuesday. So I don't want to encroach on the space of other speakers. So thank you so much. And once again, I thank the organizers, especially Kalpana and Ritu. Ritu, of course, I know from DU days. We used to gossip and grumble together till she one day suddenly announced that she's joining Pondicherry University. So anyways, it's nice to be together again, and I hope I'll get to know other speakers also, and also my regards to Vice Chancellor Professor Singh. So thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I invite Dr. Jonathan Webber, Head of Philosophy, Cardiff University, UK, to share his remarks. Over to you, sir.
Professor Weber, are you there? Professor Weber? Lino, you can maybe get to the next person. We can again have him once more later.
Okay, ma'am. Next we have Dr. Romy Borges, retired professor, Center of French and Francophone Studies, JNU, to share his views. Over to you, sir.
I think he forgot to unmute himself.
Professor Borges? Professor Borges?
I think it's becoming a consistent habit with every mute and unmute. This is
Mr. Borges?
you need to convey in the beginning.
Monsieur Borges, c'est à vous la parole. Monsieur, on n'a qu'à cliquer sur le bouton, le micro, et après vous pouvez commencer à parler. Monsieur Borges, vous m'entendez? Oui. Bon, il faut activer le micro et après vous parlez. Allô? Oui. Monsieur Borges, s'il vous plaît, activez le micro, après vous parlez.
I think he cannot hear us.
Okay.
Can we at the end again ask in case he is ready at that time? Can we go
Okay, in the
ahead?
meanwhile, I will contact him over phone and then I will tell him. Okay.
Yes, please.
You continue.
Miss Reno, can you continue?
Yeah, ma'am. Ma'am, can I call the next resource person?
Yeah, yes, I don't think the next person is there also. Just ask if he's there around. I don't think he's there.
Now I invite Dr. Mankesh Kulkarni, Professor and Head of the Department of Politics and Public Administration, Savitribai Phule, Pune University, to share his remarks. Over to you, sir.
He's not there, Lino.
Okay, ma'am. So moving on to the inaugural address, now I invite Professor Gurmeet Singh, Vice Chancellor of Pondicherry University, to address the gathering. Sir.
Thank you very much, Linu. Good evening, everybody. I was very delighted when I was told by Dr. Kalpana that there is going to be a seminar on literature and philosophy, revisiting the existentialism in the contemporary times. And when I was going through this, I was hearing speakers just now. Dr. Rosie Singh made a comment that I remember the good days which she had with Ritu. And she made a statement that we used to share and grumble together. Now, this is what probably in my mind is the relation between philosophy and literature. They share and they grumble. In my opinion, wherever the persons in literature will reach a dead end, they turn to philosophy. And vice versa, wherever a philosopher will reach a dead end, one turns to literature. So there is a very close-knit relationship, blow hot and blow cold kind of a thing. And both have been growing very well in their own right. I'm glad that this webinar has been organized. I must appreciate Dr. Paneer Selvam, the head of French department, Dr. P.K. Subramaniam, a very pleasant dean in our university. Everybody says whenever you go to him with anything, he will always say yes with a very pleasant smile. And Dr. Kalpana, head of the English department, Dr. Ritu Tyagi from the French department again, they have taken a lead in organizing this. At a time when I am sure you will agree with me that we are all passing through a very depressed phase of our life. And when we look back, is it something new that the world is facing? Well, the answer is no. We have faced such situations earlier. 1920 plague is one which people have referred to. We had a similar kind of a pandemic. And not only the similar kind, in fact, that was more difficult time because technologically we were not that much advanced. We didn't have those advantages which we have now. So the death toll and the other issues at that time, if you analyze, people did face a more difficult time. And a feeling came to everybody's mind that we are heading towards a kind of vacuum. We are heading towards a kind of a situation where probably we will not be existing. A kind of an absurd situation, a very difficult time. And people were all heading towards a kind of a absolute depression. So this went on and we faced that, we overcame this, and gradually we moved in our respective areas in various advancements in all subjects, in science, technology, everywhere. We had overcome that in the best possible ways. Of course, as I said, the death toll was far more. Then we thought we will never face such a pandemic again, because that's the confidence human beings will always exhibit. And over the years, when we reached this present stage, nobody would have ever imagined that we will reach a situation where everything practically would come to standstill, including the airlines and railways. When we had the earlier pandemic, we came to a situation where we were in a kind of a zero existing situation. And that was the time where, as I said, we didn't have what we are having now in terms of technology. So people resorted to their own religious beliefs, their own philosophy, their own styles of meditation, their own style of reading. And gradually they got over it. And they got over it and realized that there are ways to face. And this is where our friends from literature came to the rescue, and philosophers came in. They had their own thinking on this. A combination of these two helped many overcome this kind of a difficulty that we faced. And in the kind of present situation when we were in, we thought again the world is going to be over. and they were thinking that they will never be able to get back to anywhere near the normal situation that they were in. But thanks to the technology and thanks to the way people have developed various kinds of means, we started interacting. We started thinking of ways by which people can interact. And then, with the help of this connectivity, we have started organizing webinars. And I'm very happy that it's one of those rare things when Department of English and Department of French and Department of Literature and Philosophy coming in together to organize a webinar, which is a combination of literature and philosophy together. And they very aptly titled it as Revisiting the Existentialism in the Contemporary Times. Now, I'm sure this will help people come out of it, and this will help them going back to the earlier pandemic and this one, and they will be able to correlate what way philosophy and literature help them develop this into a more meaningful situation. When I look through the list of experts who have joined in, there is a host of experts who have come in from various subjects. I was sharing that people are from German language, people from French, English literature, and other subjects. I'm sure the mix of these, the culmination of ideas here, will take you to newer heights in your contemporary thinking. And the mix of these two will be a new beginning in the process of our revisiting of these aspects. When people were in a state of depression, I give my highest compliments to the organizers, Dr. Kalpana, Dr. Ritu Tyagi, Dr. Paneer Selva, that they thought of this idea and fructified it into a webinar of this kind. This is one of the best ways to get over this depressing time which we are passing through. And I hope sooner we will be able to get over this. And with our rational thinking, we'll be able to develop our students and subjects to a newer heights. I give my compliments to all of them and congratulate them for taking a lead in organizing this webinar, which in my opinion is very important because this will help our young researchers to get new ideas in their own research work, that what new problems they can pick up when they start working on their problems of MPhil and PhD. I'm sure it will be a great help. And I would appreciate if the whole webinar can be recorded and documented, because this will be a great help for those who probably would not be in a position to attend this for a variety of reasons. Could be because of connectivity, could be because of other issues. So if it is recorded, I'm sure everybody will be able to get the best use out of this. So I wish the webinar a grand success and hope that everybody will participate in the most enthusiastic manner so that the young minds of our fields from literature and philosophy will be able to get the best out of this. Thank you so very much for inviting me over here, and I compliment everyone for taking this lead and wish the webinar a grand success. God bless all of you and wish you a very happy interaction. Thank you very much, please.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words.
Thank you, sir.
Kalpana ma'am, are there any resource persons available?
Can you just find out if Professor Borges wants to talk once again?
Borges, I talked to him and then I told him he'll be waiting, madam. Madam?
Yes, sir, Professor Borges.
I think we can call him and then see if he's able to unmute.
Hello? We can call him and we can request him to speak now. He'll be ready.
Okay. Now I invite Dr. Romy Borges, retired professor, Center of French and Francophone Studies, Jawaharlal Nehru University, to share his remarks. Over to you, sir.
Monsieur Borges? Monsieur Borges? Vous m'entendez? Monsieur Borges? Yes? Monsieur Borges? No, I'm sorry, he's not able to think. Yes, you can proceed, madam.
All right, Linu, can we go
Okay.
ahead?
Yeah.
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you.
Now I invite Dr. H. Kalpana, Professor and Head of Department of English, Pondicherry University, for the concluding remarks. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And it's indeed a very pleasant evening. Let me at the outset apologize for any small technical glitches that have happened, and also with regard to the information of the web link, because I think there were two that had been generated and we had mixed them up. So very, very sorry about that. And I should say that it has been tremendously invigorating to listen to everyone today. This has been one of the dreams that I've had, because generally I always think that when we are academicians, we should not be bordered within a particular department or a discipline. Knowledge is something that is part and parcel of everyone, and so it should be more interdisciplinary, it should be more democratic, more liberal, and we, at least I believe in that, and we have been working at least on that basis from our department. The English department at Pondicherry University has always been in the forefront, trying to create this kind of niche. And I think the February conference on the Kalapani was itself an understanding. And now we have come again together to be on this particular platform where we are reviewing existentialism. And I think it is a very, very important theme which has been neglected, because even in literary criticism papers, we don't do even a single essay on Sartre or on Camus, because somehow or the other we put them in a different category of writers. So I think it is important, because without this kind of philosophical background, talking about something like consciousness, talking about being, talking about nothingness or nihilism itself means kind of an absurdity, because we don't really understand the backdrop of it. So we, as Dr. Ritu already said, we had visualized this particular platform or this particular series, thinking of that in mind. We had been ambitious, I agree on that. We'd spread over a month with various talks, about 7 to 8 talks on different days, and we had to correlate a number of timings and dates and things like that with a number of people. It has been a lot of hard work. But anyway, finally, I can say that the dream has come through, because if you don't dream, nothing happens. And I think the dreams are possible only because our Vice Chancellor, Sir, Professor Gurmeet Singh, has been behind us, pushing us and prodding us and telling us that we can do things, as well as the two directors in the university, Professor Balakrishnan, Sir, and Professor Rajiv Jain, who have also been, in some way, people who have created this hope amongst us. So I am indeed very, very thankful to them that they have given us this opportunity and this platform to start and think about new things that we could do, which could open much more interdisciplinariness in the subjects that we are doing. I also would like to take this small opportunity to mention that among the few departments that are there, the English department is one of the largest departments, with 9 faculty members and almost 250 students. Of course, the second years are now going out, but we'll be getting the first years very soon. So it's generally a population of 250 students, plus about 40 to 50 research scholars. It is also a department which has a number of different projects, which have started with UGC research projects. We have 2 Spark projects. We have a MOOC Spark project, and a number of our faculty also have had minor projects from ICSSR and from the UGC. So we are, I must say, at the pedestal of what would call innovation, because our department keeps innovating. And very recently we also had talks on contemporary literary trends that the department had visualized. So I would like all of you to know that at any time the English department at Pondicherry University has been doing not just work but groundbreaking work, which has created a kind of impression that we are not just a teaching department, but we are also a department which is in the forefront in many ways. With that, let me just go over to say that there have been many people who have been behind the scene, as I already told you, who have helped us in nurturing today's event. I must, as I already said at the outset, thank the Vice Chancellor for being with us. He was unable to be in the last collaborative project. This is the second collaboration that the French department and the English department is doing, sir. And it has all been because of you. I thank you immensely for providing this platform for us. I would also take this opportunity to extend my thanks, I know formally, because the two directors are not there, for helping us and supporting us with all the paperwork. And whenever we have spoken to them on the phone, they have just been immensely happy that we are doing something that is active and good for the university. At the outset, as I already said, we have had two.
I'm sorry for intervention here. One of the things you have done is I kept on repeatedly saying webinar. This inaugural part is a kind of a webinar, but this is an e-lecture series, if you have rightly put it. Anybody who will not be able to attend to this would certainly be able to schedule one's own engagements in order to attend to these e-lecture series. I think it's a wonderful endeavor on your part. Well done.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. It has been, as I told you, it has been rather difficult, but we have managed to do it. And I would also say that, as he just said, you know, it has been a big vision for us, but I told you that he's the man behind the scene. And there have been two other gentlemen who have also been prodding and helping us. One is our esteemed dean, Professor P.K. Subramaniam, who I think, you know, without any hesitancy, all the time, whenever we have approached him, just says, go ahead, madam, I am there, whatever papers you want, I will sign, I will forward. This is what we look forward to. See, as people who are working in academic, we look forward to these kind of colleagues who are always supportive of any endeavor that we do. Similarly, the case with Dr. Paneerselvam, sir, that whenever I've said, sir, can we collaborate and do something? He says, you don't even ask me, madam, you go ahead, I just support whatever you want to do. So this is something that I have enjoyed having both of them with me, and I do hope that till my stint is over in the university, that they are there behind me for every endeavor. I should also say that I am very much blessed by having a group of faculty who have always been supportive and encouraging in any activity I do. Every one of my colleagues, I do not want to name each one of them, the 8 colleagues that I have, plus the people from the French department, have never said anything to any activity that the English department has planned or done. And I must say that this is something, a support and a backdrop that, you know, any teacher can just ask for, and it's there. You know, they are there all the time for anything that I want to do. And that is of great pleasure, because if you don't have pillars behind you, nobody can make you stand up. So I think that is very, very important. I must thank all my colleagues. Thank you, one and all. Also, let me say that I must thank my students and scholars who have been behind this scene, helping me out, Ms. Leenu, Ms. Harita, Ms. Shruti, and of course, the never-ending goodbye, or, you know, thank you that I have to tell to Jai Prakash, who is no longer in the department, but is still part and parcel of every particular conference or seminar or webinar or anything that the department hosts. I have not seen a better student than this, who has participated in every event of the department. I also have at the beck and call a number of students and scholars who have always been supportive. I do not want to take their names, but I do thank each one of them. Of course, I must thank my co-organizer, Dr. Ritu, because she has been in many ways, whatever plans I have, when I talk to her, she has been the kind of person who sits with me and says, yes, yes, we'll do this, we'll do that. And very interestingly enough, we share a number of things together. We have started doing a lot of things from the time she's been with us in the department. We have worked together to do some kind of talks in the department, discussions, and then, of course, for these collaborations that have come, it has been enjoyable having her. I do not want to say anything more because I think in some way she's an extension of me. And I should also say that I would like to thank, of course, place it formally as a note, that the University Computer Center, because we both were people who had no background in computers, and we had no idea how to host the thing. We were searching for people. We asked literally thousands of people to ask how to host the program, because we had no knowledge how to do it. And when we finally yesterday, with some hesitancy, because we knew our computer center was loaded with work, but with some hesitancy, when we asked Mr. Ashok, he was so gracious. He just said, you please provide all the information, we'll try to help you out. And he also gave us the support, and also Mr. Ganapati, who has been there today from morning, taking care of the events and hosting, and also teaching us how to run the whole program. I must say, I must thank all them both for everything. And if I have to say the final words, I must say that it is for the resource persons who have just taken their time and who have been so nice, who have just, the minute I've sent an email, accepted our kind of invites and said, oh yes, we will do. And some of them out of their way have said, all right, we would like to do this topic or that topic, and coming ahead with that. Thank you, Mangesh, Rosie, Matthew, John, and Ben, and of course, Professor Borges. It's been a delight to have you people, and I'm really waiting to hear each one of you. Finally, all the participants, I know that we kept the window open till almost 3:30 in the evening, so that whoever wants to learn, that is always my aim, that everybody who wants to learn should learn. And they have been able to log in and get into this. They may not have been able to come for the inauguration, but I'm very sure that they'll be there for all the lectures. And I promise that we will try to record all the lectures and proceed to give it to you a little later. I've also asked all the resource persons to provide reading material, so that if any of you are interested in this topic a little further, you can go ahead. And let's hope that all our existential dilemma gets in some way or the other problematized and discussed, and maybe all of us can learn a lot from this. And I would say that it is indeed very, very happy occasion for me that this vision and dream has come true. And I would say thank you one and all. If I missed anyone, it is only out of oversight. In my heart, there is a thank you note for every one of you who have been here today with me and in this journey that I have begun, at least in academics. Thank you once again for everything.
Thank you so much, ma'am. With this, we've come to the end of the formal inaugural function.
Just one note before we close, that we would be having the program at 7 o'clock. The link will be sent again to you by 5:30. Please join by around 6:45 or 6:50 for the 7 o'clock lecture.
Thank you all.